In a small, busy town in India lived a young man named Kunal. Life had never given him much. No stable job, no savings, and no real support. But there was one thing he held on to, even during the hardest days: his attitude. Calm, steady, and quietly hopeful. Every morning, long before most people opened their eyes, Kunal walked to the local wholesale flower market. He bought fresh marigolds, jasmine, and roses, then set up a small spot beside an old tea stand to sell simple garlands to passers-by. He never earned much, but he worked with sincerity. He greeted everyone with a gentle smile and never complained about the struggles he carried on his shoulders. Then came the monsoon. At first, it was just a light drizzle, but soon the rain poured endlessly for days. Streets turned muddy. The sky stayed dark, and every morning the flowers Kunal bought were ruined before he could sell them. Still, he returned to his usual spot, his clothes soaked, his basket dripping, and his income almost zero. People rushed by under umbrellas, unwilling to stop. Kunal sat quietly, staring at his wet flowers. His back hurt, his hands were cold, and he hadn't sold anything for 3 days. For a moment, the weight of everything pressed down on him. A part of him wanted to quit. But then, he looked around. People seemed stressed, irritated, and tired. And suddenly, a thought crossed his mind. Maybe they needed something he still had: calm. Kunal stood up, lifted his basket, and said softly, "Take a flower if you'd like. No charge today. The rain may be heavy, but your day doesn't have to be." A few people paused in surprise. Someone picked up a marigold and thanked him. A little girl smiled before running to school. A tired office worker whispered a quiet, "Thank you." Friends, sometimes life shows us that true wealth isn't money, it's attitude. If you believe even small acts of kindness can brighten someone's day, go ahead and hit the subscribe button right now. Because the next part of this story is where one simple act changes an entire life. Subscribe so you never miss stories that lift you up. For the next few days, Kunal kept doing the same. His flowers were wet, but his voice remained steady. His earnings were gone, but his attitude stayed strong. People began noticing him, not for selling flowers, but for bringing a little light to gloomy days. One morning, after weeks of dark clouds, the sky finally started to clear. A man approached Kunal, carrying an umbrella and a small folder. He looked familiar, though Kunal couldn't place him. "Kunal," the man said quietly. Kunal looked up. "My name is Mr. Iqbal." He paused before continuing. "Last week I came here during one of the worst days of my life. You gave me a flower. It was wet. But your words stayed with me. You said that even when it rains, we must keep standing." Kunal listened silently. "I was going through a rough time," Mr. Iqbal continued. "My business was collapsing. My father was seriously ill. I felt completely defeated. But your kindness reminded me that not every dark day defines who we are." He handed Kunal the folder and a pair of small keys. "I run a flower supply company," he said. "I've rented a shop nearby. It's for you to use. Stay dry. Arrange your flowers properly. Grow your work at your own pace." Kunal stepped back, stunned. "I can't afford rent. I barely manage my meals." Mr. Iqbal shook his head gently. "You don't need to pay anything now. When you start earning well, you can return it slowly. There's no rush. Just keep that attitude that brought you this far." For the first time in days, Kunal felt his eyes fill with tears. He thought of all the mornings he arrived soaked in rain, all the days he went home empty-handed, and all the times he chose to smile anyway. The next day, Kunal opened the small shop, a modest room with wooden shelves, a counter, and a solid roof to protect his flowers. His flowers stayed fresh. Customers visited without getting wet. Some came not just to buy flowers, but to talk to him. His calmness drew them in. His attitude made them return. Soon, Kunal hired 2 women from his neighborhood who needed work. He taught them how to treat flowers with care and how to speak kindly to customers. With time, the little shop grew. People began calling it the gentle flower corner of the town. Years passed. One rainy morning, Kunal noticed a young girl standing outside his shop. Her clothes were soaked. She held a basket of ruined flowers, a reflection of who he once was. Her name was Nina. She looked scared and hopeless. "My flowers are spoiled," she whispered. "No one will buy them now." Kunal stepped outside and placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Come inside," he said. "We don't stop working just because it rains. Sometimes we begin by giving, not selling." She hesitated. "How can I give away ruined flowers?" Kunal smiled softly. "Because you never know whose day you might brighten. And sometimes that small moment changes the future in ways you can't see yet." Naina slowly followed him inside. And in that moment, the kindness once given to Kunal flowed through him to someone else. The cycle continued. The same lesson lived on. And another life quietly began to change. Life will not always stay bright. It will test you, shake you, and push you. But you always have the power to choose how you respond. A positive attitude doesn't erase challenges, it gives you the strength to rise above them. When you stay kind, patient, and steady, even in the storm, life is silently preparing something better for you. Kunal's story reminds us your turning point is never outside. It begins within, in how you think, how you react, and how you choose to stand when everything around you feels uncertain. Because the right attitude can transform a moment, a day, a life. And sometimes it can create miracles that no one sees coming. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who needs a little hope. Thank you for listening. See you in the next story.